What's up guys, and welcome to this review of this, which is the Roccat Tyon mouse. Now this is a pretty cool new mouse on the market for one main reason, and that's because it's aimed at both MMO players and first-person shooter players together. Normally you'll have a mouse that's suitable for one or the other because it's got a load of different buttons, like say on the side, or just one single button like the Corsair M65 sniper button, things like that are geared towards a specific type of player. Whereas this mouse is actually geared towards both because it's got loads of different buttons in strategic places which aren't going to get in your way if you're playing first-person shooter, but then are going to become useful if you're playing an MMO. So that is what the mouse is aimed for, but what is it actually like? Well, the mouse has this nice braided cable. If you're spending this much on a dedicated mouse, then you'd like a braided cable really, as it's a bit more durable and it does look a lot better. But then we have these nice lights on the sides, which hopefully you should see from the close-up shots. And this is fully customizable, and we'll touch on that a bit more in the software, but these colours can be independent. They can kind of float in and out, and they can stay on, or you can have them completely off. And then you can pretty have them any colour you like, and not any colour you like as long as it's black. You can pretty much have any colour you like. And the accents, because of that, actually look quite nice. It kind of is almost like it's floating on your desk, especially at night. Now for me, I'm not really that fussed about lights and things like that, but if you are, then this is definitely a good looking mouse. And it's not just the lights either. Although it's quite a plasticky clamshell, is that the right word? Well, it's quite plasticky anyway. You've got that famous plastic noise. But it does look good. You've got this nice sort of Roccat symbol there. I guess that's meant to be like a lion or a cat or something. A Roccat, if that's actually a thing. I don't know. But then other than that, it does fit quite nicely in your hand. It is very hand shaped. I would say it fits better in the hand than the Corsair M65. Maybe not as well as the Logitech G400, but it is a very nice very nice mouse to use in the hand. But then onto what we've actually got. We've got plenty of buttons. We've got this unique one here that kind of sits between your two fingers, and that rocks from left to right. Now, I'm not going to lie, I don't really like this. I find it quite hard to use, and I've tried to use it and I basically can't use it. Maybe you'll get on better with it, but I definitely can't recommend this. I wouldn't miss this if I went back to another mouse at all because I don't use it. The mouse wheel itself though is really nice. It's better than the Corsair M65. It's nice, smooth, rolling finish, and it is just nice to use. And then we've got these 4 buttons here which can be assigned to whatever you want. So if you want to use them just for a couple of special grenade buttons, you can do that. And of course if you're playing an MMO, you can customize them as well. But then on this side we've also got this couple of buttons here. You've got your classic left and right buttons, so your back and forth buttons in your browser. We'll touch on that in a second, but then this thing here, that is almost like a modifier, so that's the word I was looking for. If you press it down, then everything else on the mouse then does something different. So that means you can customize twice as many functions on the mouse than you could before, because if you hold that one down, every other mouse will do something different. So if you're playing an MMO, you've got twice as many options as you would before. Now, because this isn't a Corsair M65 mouse, we don't have the sniper button there, and I must admit that's my favourite thing about that mouse. So that was the main thing I missed when I started using this mouse. But you can customize every single key in the software. So this button here, because I don't play MMOs or anything really like that, I've made that a DPI 1000. So whenever I'm playing a game like Battlefield, or if I'm actually editing like I am when I'm watching myself back now and editing it, if I want a bit more control, I can just hold that button down and then I will have a DPI of significantly less than I had before, so I've got more control. But then this thing here is actually one of the most unique features about this mouse, and this is essentially a sort of slider. So if you're playing a plane game, that could be your throttle, things like that. So it's actually it's got, it's an analog up and down sort of switch like thing that you would be quite used to if you are used to joysticks and things like that. So the idea is that you can use it in a load of different games, and then you can have all this special control on your mouse, obviously in the palm of your hand. Now, I've tried it in a couple of games and I can't really say I'll be using it. Battlefield, it automatically thinks it is the up, down, yaw on your plane, and it's not particularly that useful, but if you do play dedicated aeroplane games, then maybe it could be useful. However, this is actually the reason why I'm going to stop using the mouse as soon as I've finished this review and this video, is because, as we touched on, I do like the mouse. Your computer will see this as a controller, and then that means that certain games will then think this is the controller, so if you then plug in another controller, that controller won't necessarily work. Now, this only happened with a couple of games. I've been playing plenty of games, like Evil Within was the most recent one, when I can just plug another controller in fine. But the thing when I started to the thing that I noticed was when I booted up a game of FIFA 15, immediately just me and my friend were playing, and he was assigned player 4 and I was assigned player 3. So this is actually becoming two joypads effectively. And I've tried getting around this in software, I've tried disabling it, I've even tried disabling it in the Windows sort of device manager thing, and I just can't get it to not detect itself as a joystick. And so in certain games, Borderlands, Batman, or I think it might have been one of the Tomb Raiders as well, but certain games literally just, unfortunately, it will read this as controller number 1, and then you can't use a controller, which is a deal breaker for me, sadly. Hopefully this can be patched though. I'm not sure how they're going to do it, but that is the thing that I will note, and I will say in the email to the PR company, of course, that sent me this mouse, because it is a review sample, but that is the main thing I would want to be changed with it. Other than that, apart from this button in the middle, all the mouse buttons are quite easy to get to, but also remain out of the way when you don't want to use them, which was the main point of this mouse. So that's it for the hardware, but what about the software? Well, the software that comes with the mouse, well, I say it comes with it, you've got to download it from the website, is on the whole pretty good. It's quite easy to use, it looks pretty good, and it's pretty light, so it's not going to take up loads of room on your computer. You've got loads of different functionality, you can change what all the buttons do, you've even got achievements if you want them. I don't know, they don't tell you what they are either, so maybe it's like 1 million clicks or something. So if you really care about achievements, then this mouse has achievements. Can't say I particularly agree with that, but it's not doing anyone any harm. But the main thing is that you can customize every single button on the mouse very easily. Even if you don't want the buttons to do what they're meant to do, you can change that. So I have the replica sniper button like you get on the Corsair mouse assigned to the function button on the mouse. But the real problem I have is, although you can change your DPI up to 8200, changes aren't reflected in real time, you've got to save them to the mouse. This wouldn't be an issue except for the fact that it takes realistically about 30-ish seconds to actually save your settings to the mouse. You get this big spinny wheel for about 30 seconds before it actually saves your changes. And because you can't do it in real time like you can on the Corsair and the Logitech, that's the one, gaming software, stuff like DPI becomes an issue, because if you don't know what DPI you want, then it's going to take you quite a long time to work out what DPI is best for you. So if this is your first gaming mouse and you're trying to work out what DPI you want, you're going to be there for a long time. Other than that though, the software does do the job, and like I say, it's quite light, so it's not going to take up much room on your computer. It's just going to take you a bit of time to get the jobs you want done. But of course, realistically, how often are you going to want to change the settings on your mouse? So what about performance? Well, outside of the controller issue, which of course you can get around by unplugging your mouse, but let's be honest, who wants to do that? Tracking and things like that have been pretty much flawless. It is comfortable to use, the buttons are quite easy to use other than that one thing in the middle, which I can't say I personally got on with. It's been pretty much faultless, there hasn't been any problems that I've had outside of that one big issue that will hopefully be patched. So if you are after a mouse that's got nice, smooth, reliable tracking, then this is definitely one to consider. So what would I change? Well, obviously the software does need to be tweaked because it does take ages to get the things you want to do done. Colour stuff is absolutely perfect, so I wouldn't change that at all. But we just need somehow some support for the controller aspect of the mouse to be customizable. Maybe if you can set the controller to automatically be like controller number 4 or something like that, maybe that is the way to go. But at the moment, I can't say I recommend this mouse to anyone that is using controller for a lot of their games. That said, if you never use a controller, absolutely, this is definitely a mouse to consider. It is very good, and if that one issue gets packed, then it would get my seal of approval and my recommendation. So maybe keep looking on the forums. Are there forums for Roccat? I'm not entirely sure, but if I ever find out that this issue has been patched, then I will be sure to let you know in the comments below and in the description. So thank you so much for checking out this video. Like I say, this has been a review sample of the mouse. So thanks to Roccat for you guys to actually sending that out. If you thought this video was good, leave it a like, and if you didn't, leave it a dislike. But of course, either way, let me know in the comments what you thought. Did you think the mouse is pretty cool? Do you think it's not as good as some of the others? And of course, don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this. There's loads of great stuff coming up on the channel as always, so please hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching this video, and as always, I will see you in the next one.